Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday, happy Saturday, happy Saturday. Welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, where each and every week we talk about animation from our past, back when we were children, cereals in our hands, pajamas on our butts, running downstairs, running to the next room, and flicking on the first thing that came on that early in the morning. I think for me, it was probably Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show. Was probably, I think, a 9 a.m. cartoon for me. How about you, Rose? Good morning. How about you, Jerome? Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
What was the earliest cartoon that you watched? Not in years, but in the morning, in Saturday morning. What was the first cartoon you guys maybe remember dashing for?
Oh, definitely Bugs Bunny was the thing. The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show was huge.
Right. How about you, Jerome?
It depended upon where I was at, because I moved around a lot. Some of it was things like the Hanna-Barbera ones, like Wally Gator, Squiddly Diddly, those.
Yeah, right.
And the other one was because of where I was at. One of them was actually Davy and Goliath. I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh, yes, I do. You're right. I think that was on at 6 a.m. I think, around about that time.
And I was going to put that on this show, but because of the religious nature, I didn't feel like I should put it on this show.
Yeah, it wouldn't have bothered me. I think it's still,
I like Davy and Goliath.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think that would have bothered anyone in that respect. I didn't think it was. I mean, majority of us knew that it was a religious produced program, but I did not hear a lot of religion in it when I was watching it, or I was just too young to recognize that. Oh my God!
You were way too young, because it was done by the Lutherans, which is what my mother was. That's why.
But I do remember watching it. I really do remember watching it. Okay, so good morning, those of us that are joining our broadcast for the first time. As you know, if you saw last week's show, you know what? Man,
did you watch your show?
No, yeah, I took it out of the dryer, and I think I'm getting high. It smells so good right now, Oh my God!
What are you using in your dryer?
I was going to say, what is it? Cheap perfume now?
No, it's one of those dryer sheets I threw in there with
the snuggle or the bounce.
I don't know. I'm a guy. I don't know.
You can tell Mark's getting
snuggle
old.
Is a bear. Bounce.
Wow. I think it's generic. I don't go for brand names much.
It's like a brand.
I think Mark's getting old. He's starting to act like those commercials,
Man. Wow, it's overpowering my underarm deodorant because I can't even smell my underarm deodorant.
There. Okay, Mark. Come on now.
Yeah.
This is 12-year-old Mark here.
Well, I never stink, so it's okay. Hey, so guys, just so, since this is our morning garbage portion of the show, there's a number of things I want to bring to you guys, all you guys' attention. Number one, this is gonna burn me in the ass. I know it. Facebook sucks. I have been having so many issues with Facebook that it's not funny. And it was brought to my attention yesterday that one of the programs that we do, which is the Celestis broadcast that we do, that our IT person, pretty much our director of content person, asked if who just set up a broadcast for next Monday when we do it. And I'm like, whatever. Long story short, she always used to set the broadcast. I would set it up in StreamYard, and then it would be, posted up as an announcement. Now, the way Facebook has figured it, that we got to go back in and try to start events. It's Rose, you set your own shows. Have you been having problems with people actually finding your show?
I think maybe so, because we, don't. I mean, our Transformer show is pretty big, but a lot of times, no, we have trouble.
Yeah, I think we're fine. I'm looking at our other sites right now, and we seem to be running okay. So anyway, so that's part of the morning garbage was about Facebook. So good morning, guys. There's the girl, Jennifer.
Hey, good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning,
Jennifer. And like I said before, we did not have Rose with us last weekend, which was a great show nonetheless, not because she wasn't with us. It was just a great show. But Rose decided to celebrate the Halloween season in a very, very traditional annual fashion. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Rose and what you did last weekend, Rose?
Last weekend, I went to Spooky Empire, which is a big horror convention in Orlando. I do it usually twice a year. I try to go twice a year, but the Halloween show is this year they had it at the Orange County Convention Center on the west side. I stayed at the Hyatt, which used to be the Peabody, so I could go back and forth on the Skywalk. It was very huge. This year they did a special one with the cast of Twin Peaks. They had many of the Twin Peaks cast members and other people from other shows, but that was the main focus. There were people from all over the world. It was a huge international show. People from Italy came. There were people from Scotland, the UK. So many different fans of Twin Peaks, and they all had like their own memorabilia, which was like they had books in Italian, and it was just so neat to see everything and meet everybody.
Did you get to meet Agent whatever?
Oh, Dale Cooper, he was the headliner. So yeah, I went Saturday morning. It opened up 10 o'clock for the VIP holders. I got there at like 10:05, and there was already a huge line. I was like in line for 2 hours waiting to meet him, but it was worth it. Everybody who came was incredible, and
I saw your pictures. They look great. But me not being the horror fan, I've been to Spooky before and I enjoyed it, but it's not something that I would have made an annual visit of. Horror is huge in this world, not just in the country. People just seem to enjoy slasher, bleeding, scares, total utter grossness. It's just not me, although I was a Walking Dead fan. I just happen to love that show. Speaking of dead, Jennifer, we need to put you in touch more with the internet. I think
Jennifer, I thought so also. So I think this might be one of those weird.
He was announced dead 3 days ago, but really died yesterday.
I'm saying I thought he died years ago.
Oh yeah,
I
agree with that one. I thought so too. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can jump on that bandwagon too. I thought. I mean, goodness gracious! I thought that. See what I did there. Goodness gracious! I thought he was dead as well. So I mean, great balls of fire. Come on, the guy really. See what I did there? I did it again.
We saw it.
Yes.
All right, okay, just checking. Making sure.
We got it.
We didn't want
it, but we got it. We didn't want it.
Poking you guys to see if you're still alive. But anyway, So other than that, I'm glad you had a great time at Spooky. Spooky is one of the premier shows in the country, I think. Petey and Gina, his wife, who runs it, have done an incredible job with this franchise. They've done some great stuff in the past. I agree with you before when I read your I think day 3 report or day 4 report, whatever. Those conventions, I think honestly, Orange County Convention Center is a little too big for them, and I think the hotel atmosphere is a lot better for their style of show. I'm not sure if you're going to rent out a convention center, you better make damn sure you can fill it, because the price you have to pay for that space alone could really put you into the poorhouse. If you don't get the clientele in. So I don't know financially how they did. What do you think, Rose?
I think it went fairly well. I mean, it wasn't MegaCon, but where it's uncomfortable to be there because there's so many people. But I mean, there was There was a lot of people there. I think if they'd done it at the hotel, it would have been just as fine. But there was a big dance competition, which might have been the reason why they didn't have it at the hotel this year. So there was like at the hotel where they usually have it at the Hyatt Regency. Yeah, there was a big giant dance competition.
Yeah. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we do know that this is Halloween. It's Halloween weekend. Halloween is on Monday, but that's irrelevant to that's irrelevant to what we have for you this morning. It seems a couple days ago, one of our co-hosts obviously did a full revolution around the sun once again. Starting to get boring. I wish you cut that out, Jerome. Did a full you know what the alternative to that answer is, right?
Yes, I did. I'm like, no.
You know, Jerome obviously.
New ones. I could just leave the planet and go out there, and just not come back.
And then not come back. Okay, so Jerome had a birthday yesterday, correct?
Yep, yesterday.
He is 15 years old, and he is happy to be joining us with something that is more in relation to his birthday and less in relation to Halloween. So, I don't know, be born this close to Halloween? What kind of presents do you get this time of year?
Just any sort of regular one. Actually, when Mom was pregnant with me, the doctor said I was supposed to be a Christmas baby.
Ooh,
but
2 months ahead?
Nope. I sat down with Mom and Dad when I was an adult, and we all had a few too many drinks, and I decided to do the math, and basically I'm a honeymoon baby.
I had no idea where that story was going. I'm going to tell you. Here, I'm thinking of an infant sitting with your parents having a conversation like, why'd you do this to me?
Yeah. No. We did the math, and I'm a honeymoon baby.
You're a honeymoon baby.
Yes. So you figure out what that means.
I figured it out.
Thank you, Rose.
I figured it out second. It took me 2 chances. The first chance was I was thinking because you're close to Halloween, the type of moon that was in the sky. Yeah, that's where my brain went. You're a honeymoon baby. I said, okay, thank God you're not a werewolf. But anyway, happy belated, like Jennifer had said. Happy birthday. I hope you did something great for your birthday. If not, you need to make it up.
We did we went to a hockey game last night. It was fun, It was especially fun watching Gwen's reaction to a hockey game. She's suddenly become now a hockky fan.
What the fuck was she thinking?
Well, I think I'll tell you.
I did it again. See what I did there?
I did. Yeah.
Just checking. I'm still focusing.
We're just ignoring those, Mark.
Okay.
I think the reason she liked hockey was how fast it moves.
Wow.
Great.
I think that was why she was watching it, because it helped keep her focused.
Yeah.
And also the arena we were in was new to her and everything, so that was also exciting. So.
Well, I'm glad she decided to stick with it.
But she was good enough. We got her.
Okay. Anyway, so I can't eat that anymore.
I know.
Oh, for God! Might as well pour a bag.
I did bring home stale popcorn.
I do that from the movies.
Exactly. So do
I do that. I take my.
Yeah, you take it.
I take my popcorn to home with me all the time because it's loaded up with butter, and I can go home and now look and watch Spenguli, and I got a bucket of popcorn already there, and I do that all the time.
You know what? No matter how much the way you make it at home, it doesn't taste the same as when you get it.
No.
It's like it's that butter. It's supposed to be canola, previous to that, it was real damn butter that'll kill you. But now they figure, we got to go healthy, but it's just so great. I do the salt.
This is great.
Oh my God. I had something to mention and it just, oh my God, man.
But on a sad hysterical note, on Tuesday, Cara was playing soccer with Gwen. It was the parents versus kids practice, and Cara was the goalie and ended up breaking her finger making a save.
Oh, wow! Well,
she slipped in the mud, made the save, and then there was a rebound and came back, and she made the save again. And that's when she broke her finger.
Oh well, that's great for her. I didn't know she was active in hockey. I remember what I wanted to say. So I was raised. I'm sorry. I remember what I needed to say. That's where my concentration went. I was writing it down like right now so I can remember it when I want to bring it up.
Okay, bring it up.
But that's great. Okay, so real quick, I overheard you guys talk about Black Adam. You guys know how I feel about the movie if you have read my review, and I still stand by that, and I actually plan to go see it a second time. If you go in with a negative opinion, you will come out with a negative opinion. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I don't overanalyze things. I know the dude was a bad guy. Everyone knew in the trailers, even the planning of the movie, that no way could they make a totally evil villain-related motion picture. So it's kind of common sense to know there was going to be some sort of heroic stuff that Black Adam was going to engage in. I really enjoyed this movie. You guys know how I am a big fan on writing and execution. Okay, screenplays, dialogue, the whole 9 yards, and that's why my score was as high as it was. I'm not going to overanalyze it and say, what's he doing being a hero? What's he doing? Yada, yada, yada. Just go see the damn movie and make your own opinion. Don't worry about what other people say. Go see it. That has always been my mantra. I don't care what people think about the movie or any movie that they see. I'm going to go see it for myself, and all my reviews are based on my personal experience. So go see it, judge for yourself. Don't have any preconceived notions on whether you should or not. If you are a comic fan, I've seen Howard the Duck, for God's sakes. I mean, come on.
I saw Howard the Duck in the theater.
I was at the theater, and I said, I really want to see how they're going to do this. And, you know, so I saw Howard the Duck. If there are any horrible superhero movies out there, yeah, you could look. Here's a prime example. I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but Guardians of the Galaxy was probably number 20 on my list of 15. You know, I went there and walked out loving it, saw it multiple times after that, and really, really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. So that just goes to show, just go see it for yourself and just make your own decisions on it. Make your own whatever. Jerome, you got a show here, and I want to know, what is this show about?
Well, like any other birthday when it comes around, you get retrospective about your life. And it's not a bad thing. It's just something that happens to people. It's the nature of humans. And
I plan on doing that when I'm on my deathbed. Thank you very much. But go ahead.
Well, we all do. Part of this show is a retrospective and thinking about our lives and what we
That's
did
true.
as kids.
Good point.
And so I wanted to take a moment and reflect on the shows that impacted me the most and the ones that I enjoyed, the ones that basically turned Jerome Connor into Jerome Connor. So this is what's going to, you're going to get a chance to see some of the stuff that goes into my head, what caused me to become who I am. And, and we'll talk about these as we go along. But these were some of the top picks of influences and fun memories that as I was sitting there at work doing, thinking about this.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to what you're going to suffer us through, which you actually aren't, because I know I've seen your list, and some of your favorites are my favorites as well. So go for it.
So if we could run clip number 1, please. We'll start off with this one.
Clip number 1.
There it is. I'm sure you'll get to it.
I'm running through it. There's the process. There's the process. Did it to me again?
Oh, no, not again. Not a technology issue again.
Well, that freaking note. Your browser is having trouble sharing your video. This can happen if the file is invalid. Don't worry, we fixed it last time. Can you talk about it? I may have to change.
Well, I'll just tell people what it is. They can see it. This is the Super Friends. In 1973, the Super Friends first appeared. It was Wendy and Marvin and Wonder Dog. It was 16 episodes. It was on ABC. People were, watched it. But here's the funny thing, Rose. Did you know Super Friends got canceled in the first season?
No, I didn't know that.
It 3 years later was when it came back, and that was with the Wonder Twins.
Oh wow,
Okay.
I didn't know there was
that long of a gap. I didn't either. I don't remember it, but it was basically because of the success of the $6 Million Man. Okay, yeah. So they wanted more superheroes on TV. So you had Wendy, Marvin, Wonder Dog, and they killed that, and they decided to go after that with the Wonder Twins. They went a darker tone, and if you watch it, you can actually see it.
Who did you like better? Who did you like better with the sidekicks?
That was a hard one. I liked Robin. No, the answer is I didn't care for either of those sidekick groups.
That was pretty good.
I mean, I thought Marvin and Wonder Dog were great for comedy. Wendy was pretty much the smartest one. Hell, she was smarter than some of the superheroes. Gleek was there for the funny animal, and the Wonder Twins. There was no explanation of why they were there, what was going on with them. They just showed them up, and they annoyed the hell out of me because
the dumbest powers ever. I'm sorry.
Well, one of them was basically the equivalent of Animal Man, and the other one was always some water-based thing. It's like, okay, what happens if they throw them in the ocean? They grab that bucket and throw them in the ocean.
All right, I'm ready when you are now.
Yeah, go ahead and run the clip.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Aquaman, and those 3 junior super friends, Wendy, Marvin, and Wonder Dog. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
Now, you got to admit, that is a dynamite opening. The music and the
Ted Knight. One of my tops. It's on my top list of all-time great openings. You're right.
Ted Knight really had that great booming voice for that superhero type of thing, and he was dynamite for that. I did note it as a kid. Why was it Wonder Woman was wearing the bathing suit while all the other guys were wearing lots of clothes?
Hey, don't knock it. I do not want to see her in bell bottom. Sorry.
But the Super Friends was without a doubt one of those. And here's the other thing that I noticed as a kid was they never punched anybody. And this was a result of the parents' organization stuff that brought us, that killed most of the superheroes back in the 60s, was the heroes never hit anybody. They would hit inanimate objects, break apart an asteroid, hit a mountain or a glacier, but never hit a villain or a monster. Okay.
Yeah, I never realized that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, guys, thoughts on the Super Friends?
Rose?
I loved Super Friends growing up, and Ted Knight has his. I was imagining him in his Ted Baxter uniform from, when he was booming that announcement that a few minutes ago, from Mary Tyler Moore Show. This is a show that I used to watch in the afternoons with my. I'd call a friend, and we used to watch cartoons on the phone together, and we would do commentary to each other. And this is one where whenever the Wonder Twins were on, we would just make fun of them and get the biggest laughs. We would just laugh and laugh. And we'd go to school the next day. If we were on the playground, we would do, we'd make fun of Dan and Jan. It's just, we enjoyed them for comic relief. And we got a big kick out of that because they were just ridiculous. Their powers were ridiculous. But we loved this show. It was a big show of my childhood, and my friends loved this show.
I think in school we did the Wonder Twins actually became the butt of every creative joke you can make. Size of an icicle or something like that. It was an incredible show. I really, really enjoyed Super Friends. I still do to this day.
I think what most people also don't realize is that the shape of the Hall of Justice is actually based off of an art museum, and I don't know if it's in Detroit or Cleveland. I'd have to look, or Cincinnati. It's one of those. We'd have to look it up and see. But if you look it up, it is very much that.
Yes, and I forgot, and you're absolutely right on that, buddy boy. I think you're good.
Okay.
All right, Super Friends.
All right, so that was the first one. Incredible size of an elephant, shape of water, Mike. All right. So, so the next one is an interesting aspect. Go ahead and run the clip, and I'll talk about it on the other side about why this one was why I like this one.
Okie dokie.
Scooby-Doo, looking for you. Scooby-Doo, where are you? All the stars are here, waiting for you. Couldn't have a show without you. Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo.
All right. In 1972, I returned to the States. Okay. I was in Canada for a number of
Did you
years.
get kicked out or something? What are you talking about?
We were transferred from one military base to another.
Okay.
Okay. So here I am in 1972 up at Pease Air Force Base, and I missed the original Scooby-Doo.
What?
Okay. Yep. It was not on the air where we were at. It wasn't on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and it wasn't on Armed Forces Television. So I came back, and here's the Scooby-Doo movies. Now, great stuff. Why did I like it? Right there, because they had the real life people animated, and these were like fairly well-known actors at the time. Today, most people don't know who Sandy Duncan is, or some of the others, but they were big names at the time. I mean, come on, the first Batman and Robin crossover. They even gave Scooby a bat-shaped cookie. Okay.
Did he really?
Yes,
Wow.
it was hysterical. The villain was the Joker and the Penguin, and there was more to it than that. But the whole point was that you had Jerry Reed did that great song. You had Sandy Duncan, Don Knotts, Don Adams. Okay, you had the Laurel and Hardy, the Three Stooges, and it was basically all these big names they animated and they put into these mysteries, and it was very exciting. Okay. They had the Addams Family, and so on. But it was, go look at the list on Wikipedia of the list of guests that they had for this. It is intensive. Yeah, Phyllis Diller. Yeah. Okay. To this day,
I'm sure she was hard to draw.
But you ask Rachel, who's Phyllis Diller or Sandy Duncan?
She'd have no clue.
She'd have no clue.
Yeah.
Okay. These were huge names at the time. And this was a very, look at the Globetrotters.
Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but this one was just a lot of fun. And you got the mystery, you got the guests, so it was a lot more lightweight than what the original Scooby was. Also,
yeah, I think this was like the Love Boat of
Yes.
cartoons.
Yes, I think that's a good analogy of it. Yeah,
because you did have the actual actors doing their voice work being on this show, and I thought that was a coup in itself.
Dick Van Dyke did his own voice work on this.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So this one was a great one. I wish when they released it, they had gotten the rights to the Addams Family, but that was the only episode that's not released on this on DVD.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. So yeah. All right. So let's run clip number 3. Unless you guys want to talk some more about Scooby.
Oh, I just want to say that the Cass Elliot one was my favorite. So
the Cass Elliot one, yes.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who's been watching this show for years knows this is our show favorite. Scooby-Doo is probably number 1 on our list. The number of times that we're overdue, by the way, guys. The number of times that we have done a Scooby show. I think it's an all-time favorite for anyone who is breathing on this planet.
I think, Joe, I think there was a Vincent Price episode.
Yes,
I think
it was. Vincent Price was a guest. Good call on that, Joe. So Scooby, we'll talk about it until we're dead. I love it. I think it's great. But let's go. You want me to go to your next clip now?
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's go to your next clip. You have been knocking out of the park so far But looking at your list, you will, as always, screw up. Okay, you have always in the past pissed me off somewhere along the line of your list, and I'm staring at it and can't wait till we don't get to it. Okay, but this is a major classic.
I know which one you don't like.
Yeah, I know you know. This one we're coming up now is a major classic. Good job, buddy boy, on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big hang-up. Wherever there's a hang-up, you'll find the Spider-Man.
Okay. All right. Woo! Dynamite opening. Okay. First off, let me just say this about the opening. If you can find it, find the Ramones version of this song. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. It's a great takeoff. It's the album is called Saturday Morning Cartoons. It's fabulous. Find it. You'll love it. Okay.
The Ramones version. I did hear that. Yes, yeah. I agree, buddy boy.
So this was a 1967 cartoon off of ABC, ran for 3 seasons. The problem for me was I never saw it aired first time. Okay?
That's an American butt right there. That's an America butt.
Yeah, that is. That's a New York butt.
Yeah, well,
Captain America.
Right.
Captain America's got the America butt.
Yeah, that's a little flat. You're right. That's a New York butt.
All right.
New York butt.
So here's the thing about Spider-Man for me. Okay. I did not see Spider-Man until like 1970, 71.
Another one? Good God, dude.
But this was on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the CBC, when I saw it. Now, unfortunately for me, what happened with this was it made me want to grab a clothesline and try doing the swinging like Spider-Man does. Okay. Batman made me want to climb up the wall. Nope, that didn't work. So I'll swing like Spider-Man does with his webbing, only I used a clothesline. That didn't work so well for me.
It's those K rations.
It didn't work so well for me either. To this day, every so often I'll, see if my fingers can, let me climb up the wall,
Yeah.
But this was a great one. Season 1 had a lot of the comic book villains in it. And then Ralph Bakshi, famous for Felix the Cat and Wizards, came along, took over as producer, got rid of them, and we had Monsters of the Week type of thing on the 2nd and 3rd season. And because of the coloring and whatever, they used a lot of backgrounds and stuff for this 2nd and 3rd season for his other show called Rocket Robin Hood.
And a lot of jazz music. There is actually a soundtrack that I found on YouTube where it was all the background music to this show.
Now, here's the other thing. If you're a Spider-Man fan, you know the 2 major loves of Spider-Man's life. Do you know who they are?
The loves?
Yeah.
Aunt May and no?
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Okay.
What's the other one?
Gwen Stacy.
I was going to say Gwen.
That love. And that's literally that love. Okay.
Neither of those 2 characters appeared in this show. Okay, his love interest was Betty Brant, the secretary of J. Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Okay. Now, this is the first serious introduction to superheroes, more so than what those DC ones were and those Marvel animated ones that I loved. Okay, this was actually more serious take on things, real problems, not always a happy ending.
It was dark. It was
dark. It's surprisingly dark for the 1960s.
Yeah.
But it was a solid show that holds up today.
Where's Joe's comment? Joe, you should be chiming in on this by this time.
Yeah. So, guys, thoughts on this show?
Rose,
this was a show that I missed. I wasn't even born when this show came out, but Growing up, this show ran continuously in the mornings on my way to go to school. And I always caught it before I left to go to school. And so I've seen like every episode like a zillion times. And sometimes they play the same episode in the same week for some reason. But it was solid. My friends and I loved this show. It was a show that was like a real staple of the childhood. So yeah.
And for me, this is yet the second of two shows. Well, actually, all the shows that you've shown thus far, these 3 clips that we've seen, I have seen on day one of its premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Day one. I don't. It's all good, Rose. I understand you're sitting in diapers right now. I get it. I am just happy to actually been a part of history. I was there. I can say literally, I was on the floor with my bowl of cereal, and even when these shows debuted, I was out of diapers. I was not in diapers. So yes, I'm 27. But other than that, I honestly think looks like that Joe had chimed in. Of course, we're a few seconds behind when you guys see the what you're looking at right now. But good job on that, Joe. Good job on that. So Spider-Man, I was there day one, and it was so psychedelic for me. I'm like,
it was very much a reflection of the 1960s.
Even at my very infant age, I wanted a doobie at that time, just watching that show.
But it was a solid show. Like I said, you watch it today, and while the animation is not like what it is today, the storylines, you're right, Joe. This is where I looked at Spider-Man in an entirely different light.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of us ran around trying to, shoot web swing,
and the other thing was, even though I loved this Spider-Man, I loved it. This was a freaking adult voice coming out from under that mask.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that Peter Parker was he was a college student, basically.
Yeah, he was.
And I get it, but man, he sounded like a 45-year-old dude under that mask.
Probably was.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good job here.
So the next one, we talked about how great the music was on Spider-Man, the great entrance for Super Friends. This is another classic song and theme song entrance. This is an earworm. This is an earworm, and you're gonna be humming this all day today,
dude. All right, let me just find a clip. It is one of the all-time favorites of many, if not everyone. I'm really interested in hearing Rose's comments on this because it's kind of close in her and Rachel's realm.
Okay.
Here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels. He's a demon and he's gonna be chasing after someone. He's gaining on you, so you better look alive. He's busy revving up the powerful Mach 5. And when the odds are against him and there's dangerous work to do, bet your life's Speed Racer to see it through. Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go! He's up and flying as he guns a car around the track. He's jamming down the track like he's never coming back. Adventure's waiting just ahead. Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go!
Doesn't he look like he's about to fall backwards? Okay, you can stop it there.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
My introduction to Japanese animation was Speed Racer, along with Kimba, the White Lion, but just this. They were drawing things that American animators were not doing, and I was just intrigued with it. So go ahead, Jerome. I'm sorry.
All right. So actually what I wanted you to do was run this clip at a certain point, but the entrance is fine. I love it. Yeah.
You sure did. Yeah. My bad.
No, that's okay. It's okay. But let's talk about Speed Racer. Okay. Speed Racer appeared in the United States in 1967. Okay. Most of us, 19 minutes and 40 seconds, please, Mark. Okay.
Can't see there.
So what happened here was Speed Racer became popular in the early to mid 70s because of syndication. They were trying to find afternoon programming to appeal to the kids who came home from school around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and Speed Racer fit that bill. Think about it. We had the cool kid. We had the annoying younger brother, the rich girlfriend. Come on, whose girlfriend has a helicopter? Okay, and the mysterious secret agent brother. Okay, who was Racer X. This thing had everything every kid, boy or girl, wanted in life. Okay, now the clip we're showing you here, right about here, you can start it. Hit it. You can see what's going on. They're doing basically this is they're trying to test a new rocket engine to break the speed of sound, etc. And first off, the thing that was most annoying to me, even as a kid, in my like 10 or 12 years old, was Spritle, the annoying younger brother, and his monkey, I don't know, Chim. Yeah.
Chim.
Crawled through the exhaust vent to get into the cabin of the rocket car, which, by the way, was more spacious than an apartment I had once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm looking at this going, are you kidding me? But yeah, if you watch this show, you saw some development of characters over time. Dad was annoying. He was supposedly this great engineer, yet the mechanic Sparky, which I find hysterical, was actually better at the automotive stuff than Dad was. Mom was the typical 1950s housewife. Whenever you saw her, she always had on an apron. Okay.
Yeah.
And
if
the
you
girl
saw her at all.
Yeah, well, you did see her a few times, but it was an interesting one. But here you had this teenage kid who's like about 16 or 7, and he's racing in the equivalent of Indianapolis, One thing I will note, in the opening, you see the car come off of the track and then explode. That actually used to happen quite a bit in racing in the 1960s.
Yep,
so that's not unheard of. But this was a car that today, even though the technology and stuff doesn't really hold up, same with the animation, it's still a popular show simply because it's also very futuristic. Tell me who didn't want to have a car with with spinning blades during rush hour, or can hop over cars when because some jerk cut you off. So
yeah,
thoughts, guys?
I did a show on Speed Racer, but I featured all of the buttons, the usage of all the buttons that were on the steering wheel. So
it's a great clip.
It was a great show,
Yeah.
I loved this show growing up. This was another one that was like a early morning, get ready for school day show when it aired, and I think it aired sometimes on the weekends too. Very much influential. Everybody wanted to have the Mach 5. It was I actually had this on DVD, but when my kids were growing up, they ended up scratching it all, and so it's been like lost and destroyed. I'd like to get it again. It was the premiere, then the first time I was introduced to Japanese animation myself.
Yep,
so it's a lot of people these days. I mean, Rachel shows me clips online because there's a lot of analysis done on it, of course, where they compare Speed Racer saying he's a sociopath and the misogynistic, but it was you got to understand it was the era,
Yeah. It was the 1960s. Let's not kid ourselves. It was 1960s Japan.
So she's like, she'll show me this stuff, and I'll be like, yeah, but it's a great show. Shut up.
Yeah. Thank you, Rose, for being the mom there. Yeah. What's interesting about this is here Jennifer said her dad watched it. Jennifer, you need to go watch this. This is a great show. Okay.
It was one of the first shows that I watched a cartoon growing up that had like a storyline.
Yeah.
And was like not just episodic, but it had like, a flow to it. If you had to you watch the next one to find out what the heck happened. So
right. I mean, things like when they did the Around the World, they called it the Most Dangerous Race, which was basically a round the world race.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, some of the stuff. And yeah, okay. Listen, Speed Racer shot things with real bullets. They didn't have that silly laser thing. You saw Speed grab hold of a rifle and start shooting. He started doing the pump part of the Winchester. There were machine guns with bullets flying off of whatever. And people died in this show. Let's not kid ourselves. People died. And we didn't blink twice at it. You know?
It didn't make me a sociopath. So I don't know.
I didn't turn into an axe murderer. I don't know. Did Mark? He does, buildings, so maybe he knows how to hide bodies better than we do.
Yeah, I'm a sociopath. Yes.
There you go. Okay.
There you go.
But this was a show that was like I said, up here in New England, it was right as school was ending out, so you would run home and turn on the TV so you could watch it, and hopefully you didn't miss anything. So. Mark, you've been sitting there like the cat.
Oh no, I'm just waiting.
Okay, go ahead. What do you got to say? What do you have to say about Speed?
Oh no, I said it.
Okay.
I love the show.
Okay.
It was just the first really violent show that I've actually seen in terms of cartoons. So
yeah,
but love it.
Did you hear that other clip that you're gonna play?
Yeah, well, he showed it. He showed the clip.
I showed it.
Parts of it. You saw the animation and all that. We can move on. It's not a big deal. So, clip number 5, my friend.
Yeah, I was just concentrating on the internet here and seeing if and when we're going to get tagged.
Yep.
You know what? That Spritle and Chim Chim, when they're going through there, it reminded me of Jeffrey's tubes on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. Next clip, you said?
Yeah, number 5, please.
All right, here we go.
El bolero de Ravel. Pintura fresca. Restaurador de cabello.
I love this part. The little lawnmower.
Mascarilla de belleza. Cemento fresco, no pisar.
What?
Oh, it's the clip I had to find.
I got it.
Translation.
Yeah.
They added some of the sound effects to it, but you get the general idea. So anyway, so here we have the Looney Tunes, and let's not be kidding ourselves. The Looney Tunes influenced everybody. Okay, there is not a single person out there who did not learn about classical music thanks to the Looney Tunes. From Wagner to the Barber of Seville. How many piano concertos did we all watch with Bugs?
Right.
And if I say the word Leopold,
Leopold.
Right. Nobody really remembered as kids that Leopold Straczynski was who they were parodying. The adults got the joke, which is the beauty of Looney Tunes. But the kids never got it and didn't care,
Just like Speed Racer being my introduction into Japanese animation. Looney Tunes, especially this clip, was my introduction into classical and operatic music. The reason why I am so into classical music was because of the cartoons that I watched growing up.
Yeah.
Simple as all that. Nobody dragged me to an opera house or a symphony hall and said, oh, you're going to enjoy this, you know? But I hear operatic and classical music now, and my mind immediately goes to the scene that this was based on in a cartoon.
Exactly. I actually saw I watched part of the Barbara Seville on YouTube, and they came to this point, and I could not get out of my mind's eye this scene. I couldn't get it out of there, you know.
You take me to a hall to hear, you know, an orchestra play this, and you're going to immediately hear me start giggling.
Yeah. You're not the only one, I assure you.
You're going to hear me giggling.
The minds behind the writing of these episodes were amazing. I mean, to sit there and think of all this stuff to do, like the little lawnmower and the beauty clay, you know, and the fruit salad. I mean, it's just brilliant. And I don't think you can see writing like this today.
Yeah. This is why I love writing, because people sitting around a table are coming up with the most absurd ideas. No one is actually saying to you that's a stupid idea. You know, they run with it.
Just to go with it, you know.
So the fruit salad was a take on Carmen
Miranda.
Yeah. But see, and there was also the chase scenes. Okay, we had Roadrunner, we had Yosemite Sam and Elmer always chasing after Bugs or Daffy. Porky Pig was just basically the everyman. And there was just so much. And one of the things that was also great was they showed you how to stand up to it. In more than one episode, Bugs is like willing to, you know, forgive the first transgression. You know, it's kind of like, okay, something happened. It was bad. It was an accident. Yeah, I'm going to move on, whatever. And when it continues to happen and it shows that he's being targeted, he stands up to the bully or whatever. And it shows you how to do it. You know?
And every show, even back then, during the 30s, mainly the 40s, 50s, whatever, every show, TV show, movie that you saw, there had to be a hero.
Yeah.
In every Looney Tune and every Bugs Bunny related cartoon, it was always Bugs Bunny. You know, he's the everyman's man.
But the thing about Daffy, the thing I loved about Daffy was nuts. And
well, he was the coworker.
Right.
He was the worker at your office you wanted to strangle.
Yeah, but you know what? There was also, in the early days of Daffy, before we got to that point where he was that way, if you go back and look at it, where Daffy is literally his name, it showed that it's okay to be strange. It's okay to be weird. And that was his strength. And I wish they had stuck with it. Basically, you needed that coworker foil, which is what Daffy was. And let's not kid ourselves. The three greatest ones are the ones with the duck season, rabbit season going on.
Rabbit season, yes, agreed. Yeah.
And those are perhaps the pinnacle of it. Now, this show pretty much was constantly on the air during the 60s and 70s and into the 80s. Now, there was the dark side of some episodes that were more than slightly racist. And there were about 9 of them that people were have discovered over the years.
By the way, Jerome, I need to correct you. There's no such thing as slightly racist.
I know, and I realized when I said it how wrong I was, and I apologize for that.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, I know. What I meant to say was there were racist elements in some of them.
Yes.
Okay.
I knew what you meant.
Some of them were completely, and some of them had elements, and my word choice was wrong, and I apologize for that.
That's okay. You're good.
But overall, the Looney Tunes did some amazing things for cartoon animation, made careers. I mean, we would not have loved Mel Blanc if it hadn't been for the Looney Tunes.
Oh, my hero.
Yeah.
He's my hero.
Chuck Jones, Fritz Freelang. These guys were icons in the animation world, and to this day, they are still revered throughout there. Okay. Now, the next one. We have talked about this. We did an entire show on this one. This is one of my personal favorites beyond things. It aired in 1973. So go ahead and run this clip. It's not the opening. It's an actual clip from one of the episodes. And I want to talk about it on the other side.
Tricorder analysis, Mr. Spock.
Artificial gravity is in effect here, Captain.
Both air and gravity within 2 points of Earth normal.
Enterprise, do you read me? Zulu.
No use, Captain. Some sort of interference has been set up.
We can cut our way out of here.
No energy registering. Something's drained them.
You mean we're trapped here? No communication? Nothing?
For the moment. This was the control center of the starship. These must be control and navigational instruments.
The source of the interference is here, Captain. It's not part of the normal equipment. It's like something they jury-rigged during an emergency.
Something to shield this room. But shield it from what?
Possibly from whatever had come aboard their ship.
But nothing, no form of life could survive 300 million years.
Quite right, Mr. Scott. No known form of life.
Jim, the door.
Okay, you can stop at any point you want. Okay, so this was actually the first episode of Star Trek the Animated Series. This was all, like I said before, when we did the previous show, this was for all intents and purposes, this was the 4th season of Star Trek. I love this show. It didn't talk down. I was surprised, even to this day, how well it holds up as a Star Trek series show. It really will. I'm not going to kid you. The animation ain't the greatest. Okay,
it doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me either.
Yeah, it didn't bother me at all.
And I have to say, they use the same pieces of music over and over again, but they place them in really well spots.
Right.
You know, but I just love this show. You know, and this show again continued my love of Star Trek. You know, thoughts, guys?
How about you, Rose?
I still never had a chance to see it.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh my God,
well,
Rose.
I can't put out the job wanted sign yet, Jerome. I don't know what I'm going to do with this girl. It's blasphemy. You know, it's blasphemy.
I know.
It was one of those television shows that I agree with you. It was season 4 of Star Trek for me. The writing was unbelievably unbelievable.
Yeah.
There were well-known writers who we have met in person, probably know personally. It was a great written series. And Rose, I challenge you to watch, you know, the entire season of it.
I need to watch it.
Even if you don't watch the entire season, Rose, watch some of the episodes.
It's on Paramount Plus now, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, these guys defy you to do that. They're staring you down as we speak, Rose. You can see it in their eyes, Rose. Do it, Rose, or we're all coming after you. You know, to segue a bit on this, I haven't finished the season of Lower Decks, Star Trek Lower Decks.
No, I haven't either.
And I laughed so hard last night that I peed myself. Is not something I readily do. I'm just saying, but it was just so much unexpected. If you saw my recent post where I just mentioned 2 words, which is a name, you'll know exactly the episode that I'm talking about. I'm joined.
Yeah, I didn't know the context to your.
You didn't know? Oh, well, you'll find out. Well, do it. But I am totally enjoying anything Star Trek related right now. So this is just the second of my enjoyment of the Star Trek series, because it was only the second thing on prior to the movies, the motion pictures coming out. So yes,
this came out because they saw that Star Trek was doing really well in syndication, unbelievably well, which surprised everybody, and how well it was running. And so they did this because they saw an opportunity. Unfortunately, due to finances, they couldn't get Walter Koenig to do it, but he did write a really, really good episode. This was, like I said, and this did not, this was it. After this was done, they were going to do another show called Phase 2. Yeah. But then Star Wars came along, and just everyone went, "Oh my God, this
changed
is phenomenal!"
Everything.
It changed everything, and so hence we got Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which I still liked. I still to this day like Star Trek.
There's
the
a lot of
Picture.
Phase 2 elements in that film.
Yeah.
So
well, there's a lot of really good really good stuff all around it. Contrary to what some current critics have to say about it. Thank you, Terry. So anyway,
Terry here?
Yeah, Terry's here.
Okay.
He's been sneaking out on us. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Star Trek. All right. I'm gonna have to have you run the next clip.
Yep.
Okay.
Is it Jim?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh
no,
my
it's not.
God!
No,
Definitely putting
Jim
out that
was
Hell's
not one of my
Life,
favorites.
man.
Okay, so you know,
We're
and-
definitely putting out
That was
that
my
Hell's-
childhood more than yours.
yeah.
Let me tell you about this next clip. I actually like this show. I actually thought it was the next
Hysterical
clip, which is
Yeah, I know.
Leaving
I
the
know.
Room. But this one I like.
Great babe.
Over 40 feet high.
Great babe.
Just a little bit shy.
Great babe.
But a super strong guy.
Yep, that's me.
Oh,
I know we're dragging here for.
Great babe.
If he comes to your town,
Great babe.
he will really be put down.
Great babe.
Any bad guy around. The great babe.
What a sight to see him jogging block after block. Things begin to shake and quake and rattle and rock. The big garage!
Great babe.
I do not recommend.
Great
He
babe.
is one to offend.
Great babe.
So be sure he's your friend.
Better be sure.
The great babe.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, I watched it.
yeah, I did too. A giant purple ape rides the roof of a van and has bizarre adventures. It's what you really need to say. Look, this was basically a kids-friendly version of King Kong.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it. Nailed it.
Yeah. They made him purple. They made him, somewhat, talking with the dog, which, by the way, I love his bow tie.
Oh yeah, right.
This was basically what they called the funny animal show.
How much you want to bet Rose has never seen this? There
I
you bet.
actually vaguely remember this show,
Yeah.
but I remember Great Babe more so with the Yogi All Stars.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's,
but
that's fine.
I think I did see this show. I don't think it was like one of my favorites, but I guess I
No,
wouldn't remember
but
it, but
I enjoyed
it's
it a lot.
vaguely familiar.
Yeah. I enjoyed the show a lot as a kid because of the silliness factor. I mean, here you got this giant 40-foot ape riding the top of this van, which was silly to me to begin with.
Yeah.
And then you started doing all this other stuff with the character. And it was just because it was so silly that I was constantly giggling while watching this show.
Yeah. It was silly. I watched it. It was, it was okay on the animation. I mean, granted, how many steps you have to draw in order to make something move. No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
It was an average show, but it was something that was funny. And this came out in. Hang on a second. Let me check my notes here real quick. The show came out in 1975. Okay. So here we have 1975, where the parents are all depressed because of Watergate, the end of Vietnam. The economy's starting to go down. However, we are ramping up for the bicentennial. So there was a lot of emotion in the air at the time. And shows like this made kids feel a little relaxed, a little more happier, because it was just so silly,
Yeah.
So, okay, now this is the next one. Mark hates this show.
No.
Yes,
Ain't
Mark.
doing it. Ain't doing it.
We can talk about it on the other side. Go ahead and run the clip. Look, you run stuff we don't care for every so often.
That's BS. You care for everything I run. So.
There they go, and on the double to the spot where there is trouble. Clue Club.
Clue Club's on the scene.
You better believe it, boy.
Donnie does her thing computing, checking clues and troubleshooting. Clue Club.
Clue Club, it's routine.
You go in first, Wimple.
One trap door and they go spilling, face to face another villain. Clue Club.
Clue Club, just in time.
We'll be safe in here, Wimp.
No fun running from a mummy, even though he is a dummy. Clue Club.
Clue Club solves a crime.
I knew it all
ripoff. Next clip.
Yeah, it was. There's no denying that this was a Scooby ripoff, okay? But of the Scooby ripoffs, I enjoyed this one on a couple of reasons, okay? First off, they openly worked with law enforcement, the town law enforcement. As a matter of fact, the town law enforcement would come to them for the really bizarre ones. The fact was, they also had a crime lab. That was the annoying sister. Was the super genius with an actual crime lab. I didn't realize it was a crime lab at the time, but it was really cool because they had a computer, which was, this was in 1976. Computers were just starting to become, something that people could actually think about. It was a different dynamic. I enjoyed the mysteries on it. I just liked it a lot better than some of the other ripoffs that they did of Scooby.
Oh, nobody's perfect. It's okay.
But this was a fun one. Contrary to Mark's dislike for it, I think if people were to watch it, I think they would actually enjoy it.
Okay.
All right.
Like Mike, I never saw this show growing up.
Okay.
But I can see where Hanna-Barbera stole some assets from Scooby-Doo for their opening.
Oh, yeah.
Which is common with Hanna-Barbera. But other than that, the only time I've ever heard about the show is when we've discussed it on here. I've never seen an episode.
Yeah. I think you'd like it, Rose. I really do.
It looks cute.
It is, without a doubt.
Stick with Star Trek, Rose.
Okay. So the next one. Tell me when you're ready to start this one, because I want to introduce it properly. Okay.
All right. Hold on for a sec. I'll wait on the other side here.
Ready?
And you want me to start it, or you want to start talking about it?
Go ahead and start it, and I will do the introduction.
All right. And coming up now.
Where is it? Uh-oh, Chongo! Okay, so this is a great opening. This was a segment of the Banana Splits. It was 36 serialized episodes in 1968. Okay, this was an introduction to people to a young Jan Michael Vincent and to kids to a new generation of this movie serial type. Okay, there's young Jan in blue. All right. Also, this introduced the phrase "uh-oh, Chongo," which went around basically every elementary school and middle school out there during that time frame. Okay, right into the 70s. Yep. All right. Now, the problem I have with this was I was introduced to this later, after the initial airing of it. The problem was when they did air them, they aired them out of order. Yeah. So over the years, you had to start to kind of figure out where they were, what the story was, and everything else. And it was also incredibly rare to get the very first episode to understand what happened and why they were there. You would always get the pie fight episode. Okay. And they actually would take on the syndications the segments from the different Banana Splits, and they would pull them and move them into different ones. So, but this was a great serial. I loved it. I think it was it was very well done. Somebody did an edit where they clipped the repeat sections from from one episode to the other. So they basically made about a 2.5 hour movie with all the clips online that you can find it. Mark?
Danger Island, man. I saw it day one. Loved it. I thought it was silly. It was stupid. It was in the same vein as the Hudson Brothers show during that time, where it's just slapstick all over the place. The pirates had swords and nobody got ran through. It was like, okay, but I enjoyed it. It was just funny.
There were three cannibal tribes on the island, by the way.
Yeah. The one with the pie fight is the one I remember the most.
Everybody does.
Tribes. How about you, Rose?
I vaguely recall this show, probably because I was very young when the Banana Splits aired, and so I don't really have like anything to contribute because I probably saw it all out of order, and I don't.
Yeah. This was one of the Banana Split side shows that they did. You always had the Banana Split segments focusing mainly on the Banana Splits, and that's
what I remember.
Then you branch off to the Three Musketeers, Arabian Nights,
Gulliver's Travels,
things like that. So this was one of them. Danger Island was a big show. So yes, I remember.
Okay, last clip. Okay. Kindergarten and first and second grade, this show was highly influential to me and aided me in certain ways that with reading and numbers that I cannot even begin. Please run the clip. It's in there somewhere.
Sunny day, sweeping the clouds away. On my way to where the air is free. Get me down there, how to get to Sesame Street. Come and play, everything's A-OK. Friendly neighbors there, that's where we meet. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? How to get to Sesame Street? How to get to Sesame Street?
Okay, so the early days of Sesame Street were just phenomenal. There was no corporate interference. The network basically let them go. The numbering things that they did was dramatic. You can see the influence they had on other shows like The Electric Company. This was the early days of Oscar the Grouch, Bert and Ernie, Mr. Snuffleupagus, and of course, the late great Mr. Hooper. Okay. This is our first introduction to Oscar the Grouch, which was one of my personal favorites. Season 1 or 2 gave us Ernie singing Rubber Ducky. Okay. They even did a version of the Hot Air Balloon song, Up in My Hot Air Balloon. This was a show that really tapped culture, but brought in so much new ideas and new ways of teaching things like letters and numbers. And basically just did not talk down to kids. I feel the show went downhill when that certain red Muppet showed up. But, that's a personal issue. Sesame Street helped me with a lot of that when I was that age because I was struggling with the ability to read and do math. So this for me was a dynamite show. Just loved it as a kid.
Yeah, go ahead, Rose.
Okay. I have to agree with everything Jerome said. That's of course a staple of my childhood, and I'm very sad that my kids did not pick up on it or like it anywhere near. This show was like a food for the soul. I mean, it was so well written. There were these great segments with Kermit and they would do it was like such a variety show where they all played like different parts. And it really, I learned my alphabet and I learned a lot of stuff through Sesame Street. And, when you showed the picture of all the adults, I'm like, I could name them all off. And in my head, I still remember them. They're such a huge part. I did watch the episode where Mr. Hooper passed away, and Mr. Hooper was such a big part of the show.
Yeah.
I had the Sesame Street playset with Mr. Hooper's store. and it was very, they handled that. It was like the first time I think they ever dealt with loss on the show.
Yeah.
And it was just a very powerful show. Like I said, I agree with you about Elmo. I think Elmo dumbed down the show a lot and made it like infantile in some respects. I'm sorry. I know he was a huge phenomenon, but I really didn't care for the after Elmo, when Elmo came on board. I mean, because I think that started talking down to kids more so than the original 70s segments, which was they talk to you on your level but not down to you. So I absolutely love Sesame Street.
Well, I watched Sesame Street a lot along with the Electric Company, and in 1969, during those turbulent years to follow, of course, this show actually helped explain to children what was going on in the current day. And they did it with such panache, with such flavor, with such gentleness, that the stark realities of what was going on outside of that TV set was what softened it a bit. The kids can then run outside to the playground, schoolyards, or whatever, and they didn't have to talk about nuclear war or politics or anything of that nature. They'll bring up Big Bird, and they'll bring up Cookie Monster and things of that nature, and it made it more in the era they made it more in the atmosphere they should be raised in, which is that atmosphere of imagination and loving and caring, which they took off of Sesame Street. There's nothing really minor at all that I could say about this show. There's nothing qualifies. There is no minor.
I also want to say that the adults, it also gave you a sense of community, and helping out one another, and you didn't see that a lot. And they had it was a multicultural group, and that also I think was it meant a lot to see all these different people. You had Lewis, and you had Gordon and his wife, and it was just to see everybody getting along, to see everybody working as a community, and they were all friends, and that was like really wonderful to see as a child.
One of the things I loved was the kids would sit there and talk, and the neighbors would just come in and sit down on the stoop and just talk to the kids about whatever's on those kids' minds.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Sure. There were questions that this show actually helped answer.
Right.
When there aren't parents out there that aren't good with speaking or even speaking to their own children, this show actually was a great babysitter for our kids growing up.
Yeah, and the fact that the numbers and the letters. I mean, to this day, I still have visions of my head where they're doing the numbers, and the chef that's walking down the stairs holding all like pies or cupcakes or a big wedding cake, and would always fall down and basically get killed, with all the stuff, and tell you what number it was again.
Yeah. It was brilliant. That and Electric Company, anything on PBS related is just a good getaway from the horrors of today.
And Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street were a good 1-2 punch.
I think if PBS does not get overtaken by those corporate idiots or billionaire knuckleheads who want to mold the world in their own view, I think with PBS, I'm assuming having a conglomerate of shareholders who say, nope, you better keep it like this, or we're just pulling out support from you.
Right now it's on HBO Max, unfortunately. And then the new shows, but it will air on PBS 6 to 8 months after it airs on HBO.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah, as long as we know where to go back to.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I remember so much about some of the stuff, and the Muppets were just a huge part of that. The
Muppets was the adult Sesame Street. Okay.
Yeah,
it was the adult Sesame Street.
But I remember. I mean, to this day, we were discussing Sesame Street on the way home last night. We were talking about Mr. Snuffleupagus and how everybody thought he was Big Bird's imaginary friend.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how Oscar the Grouch said, you know what? It's okay to be grouchy. It's okay to have a different point of view. You know,
Yeah.
you can
I
be
love
different.
Oscar. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, who
Yeah.
doesn't?
One of my favorites.
It said,
I don't love you.
It also said it's okay to have a messy life. You know, you don't have to have your room perfectly clean, which I used a lot as a kid to my father. You know?
Yeah.
And every kid that I knew loved Oscar. You know, Oscar was one of the perhaps was the breakout one when it first started. Big Bird was loved by the adults.
Right.
You know, I don't know about you, but as a kid, I didn't like Big Bird. Okay.
No.
I wasn't big on Big Bird. I liked Bert and Ernie and Oscar were my 3 favorites. Okay.
Yeah.
Super Grover. So anyway, so there you go, folks.
Right.
There it is. 10 things that influenced my life and made me who Jerome is today. But I hope you liked them. I hope you found something that you liked also. You know, these were the fun ones in my life, and heck, I might even sit down and watch another Sesame Street episode just for the fun of it. You know.
All right. Hey guys, we can't leave this show without celebrating anything Halloween related. But before we do that, because I have something else I want to show you guys real quick, we're going to talk about Rose's and Rachel's show this evening. Can you give us a little synopsis of what you got going on tonight, Rose?
Yes, in the spirit of Halloween, we're doing Japanese horror. We're taking a look at
Why?
The Ring.
Why?
The Ring and its American counterpart.
Why?
We're looking at The Grudge and its American counterpart, and we're going to compare those.
Why?
Rachel introduced me to a very twisted anime called Higurashi.
Hugawada?
That we're going to discuss. That's one of the most creepiest things I've ever seen. I mean, it's just very, very strange. And then Rachel's going to talk about her favorite horror manga writer, Junji Ito, who's has a big influence on her life. She did almost a 7-minute, if you get a chance to see it. She did the other day, and we just uploaded it yesterday. She did a 7-minute segment on her favorite story from Junji Ito and why it's significant to her. So you need to watch it all the way through, because I saw it when I saw it for the first time. I was in my car on my way home from work, and she's like, "Here, Mom, I want you to see it first." And I'm like watching, I'm like, that's. And then when she talks about why it matters in her life and like on a personal level, it was just like really gut wrenching to me. So it's on my page. It's on the Roses and Reactions page. So if you got like 7 minutes of time, she does this voiceover with regard to the story, the manga story, and I highly recommend it. So she's gonna, and I think she did some other stuff too, some voiceover stuff that I haven't even seen yet for tonight's show. So I hope everybody will tune in, and watch us discuss, because we have a lot to say about the Ring and The Grudge and the comparisons, plus these other couple of shows. Plus Perfect Blue that we're going to discuss also. So come join us. It starts at 7. I don't know how long it's going to run. She doesn't want to run the whole 7-minute segment that she did she did it as like a teaser. She does, because she thinks the show's going to run long, but I encourage everybody to watch it because it's just very powerful. Anyway, 7 o'clock.
Is
tonight.
that it? She had a lot to get out there, but that's fine. That's great. 7 o'clock that happens tonight. Make sure you guys tune in, and I'll make sure I have enough wine in me if I watch tonight and be prepared for it. But other than that, guys, this is Halloween.
Thank you, Brady.
As you know, hopefully you guys are getting all dressed up, going out to parties. Tonight is big in Orlando tonight. That's all they've been talking about on the news is downtown.
Ours is on Monday. We do ours on Monday night.
You know, they did mention a lot about, the police that's going to be on hand for tonight.
What is tonight down there? What's going on?
It's Halloween weekend, dear. It's always big down in downtown Orlando during Halloween.
I know my boss went up for Halloween Horror Nights last night. So
yeah.
Hey, listen, I've got Salem, Massachusetts.
Yes, and I heard about that on the news today too. How Salem is going all out again.
Only the tourists go to Salem, Massachusetts during Halloween. The locals actually leave town.
Right. Okay, we leave town, which is smart. You're absolutely right. We're going to end this morning's show, guys, with a clipping celebration of Halloween. So if you guys can wait around for about a few minutes or so, and watch this. Happy Halloween to everybody, and then we'll go ahead and fade out with the end of the show after this one.
Don't forget the Great Pumpkin.
What took you so long? Flintstone climbed down on rope. I stopped him. Go back under the window. They might try again. Yes, master. And now, my friends, you are finished. You hear me? You are gone.
I did it! I did it! Dracula's locked in the room. Let's get out of here. Back! Everybody back!
Hey, stop pounding. I think we're safe in here. Here for a while.
Yeah. Wilma, Betty, move away quick. You're standing on a trapdoor.
Huh?
We fell through it before. Zoom! Right down to the secret lab.
A trap door leading down to a secret lab? How did you get out?
We climbed out through this big window down there.
Uh-huh. And where does the window lead to?
Where does any window lead to? It leads to outside, out to the castle grounds. Uh-oh. Hold everything, folks. I just thought of a terrific plan.
I knew you would, Fred.
Why don't we drop through this trapdoor down to the lab? Then we can climb out the window and escape from the castle.
Gee, that's a great plan, Fred.
Oh, boy.
Right.
Flintstone! You will not get away this time. Uh-oh. Come on, Fred. Open that trapdoor.
Right, Bon. How'd I do it before?
Gee, I don't know. You were moving around the room and just sort of picking up different objects.
Yeah, I remember. It was one of those objects I picked up.
Which object was that, Fred?
That I don't remember. We'll just have to try them all. Everybody, start picking up objects.
It's not this one.
It's not this one.
Be reasonable, Flintstone. Let's talk it over.
Was Dracula always
And
green?
it isn't this one.
Yeah.
Give a big push, Frankenstone. Ah, you are trapped.
Stay behind me, gang. I'll protect you.
Flintstone, I will not waste words. Your wife Wilma will go with me.
Pal. Wilma stays with me.
I am determined to make Wilma my bride.
Just hold it right there, pal. Take one step closer and you'll be sorry.
Frankenstone, we will accept this challenge, yes?
Oh, man, it ended.
It ended. Ah.